Hello and welcome to Plus Sports on Plus TV Africa. I am your host, Mikhail Tinubu. It's a good morning to you from here at Plus TV Africa. Now, some Nigerians are blistering the records in the Serie league, and unfortunately, that may not bode so well for the teams that they play in, as they might become hotly contested, hotly chased assets come summer window, as some teams are already making their plans for huge purchases to boost their squads in the Premier League. I speak, of course, of both Victor Osimhen and Ademola Lookman, who have been scoring goals in the Italian top division, leading the scoring chart. But the Napoli player might now be too far ahead to catch. Sunday's 3-0 drumming of Spezia made it Napoli's 18th victory of the season, with a victory powered by the 2 goals from Victor Osimhen, who also assisted on 1 goal, with the Atalanta star Lookman having scored 12 goals this season. The Nigerian attacker appeared to be the only striker in Italy who could match Osimhen's goal-scoring efficiency. The former Leicester City forward recently expressed his confidence that he would surpass Osimhen in scoring by the conclusion of the season. However, Osimhen has not taken the challenge lightly, as his 2 goals in the Stadio Alberto Pico now gives him a 4-goal advantage over his fellow countrymen, taking his season total to 16 league goals. It seems we're struggling to hear Benga, but I want to talk about the efficiency of Victor Osimhen in the Serie A this season. His consistency is higher than any time in his career in Naples. He continues to score goals, and it makes him a valuable asset to Napoli. The owner of Napoli in recent times has come out to say that the club would only consider 140 million euros to sell the Nigerian striker. And for a while now, Manchester United have been linked with him. And come the summer, it is expected that they will pay anywhere from £90 million to perhaps £120 million to get the player. I wonder if Benga is back online with me. Benga? Meanwhile, as I was saying, Chelsea are also linked to the player, and it has been reported yesterday that the owners, Todd Bowley specifically, is willing to pay whatever amount to get the player.
Hello, how about now?
Yes, I can hear you, Benga.
Okay, you can hear me now. Okay.
Yes, good morning, welcome.
Good morning. Sorry for the delay. Nigeria happened to us today. No cash, no ATM, and all those things.
No problem. I was talking about Victor Osimhen and the efficiency of his goal-scoring record this season. He is making himself a valuable asset to Napoli. But at the end of the season, there is most likely going to be a tug of war between Naples trying to keep him and the transfer market trying to pull him to a new club. Chelsea and Manchester United have been linked to the player. Manchester United for longer. Chelsea recently now looking at the opportunity to bring a world-class striker to Stamford Bridge. Either way, though, he has been recently compared to Didier Drogba by Jose Mourinho. He would obviously improve the forward line of either squad. What do you make of his scoring this season? Is it a fluke? Is it something that is going to end up deceiving these big English clubs to buy him and maybe even end up regretting the purchase? In the case of Chelsea, who have had a lot of issues replacing Didier Drogba since he left.
Oh, okay. All right. So I think that it's not a fluke. It would be disingenuous and unfair to say Victor Osimhen's form this season is a fluke. After all, we saw him do it in Ligue 1 with Lille, which was why he was bought by Napoli in the first place. And he has done it with Napoli not just this season, although this season has been more prolific, but he has been clinical in the past 2 seasons. This is his third season. So, of course, it has been a long time coming for Osimhen to hit his heights in the Serie A. I understand all the attention and the attraction in the transfer market, especially from English clubs, but it's not down to any form of deceit or ill intent. I feel that this is Victor Osimhen's time, and yeah, he's also playing for a team that generally are playing good football. Look at Victor Kvaratskhelia, look at Zielinski, look at Giovanni Simeone when it comes in, Raspadori. Everybody is doing their part well. And if you feature it in a movie that is a blockbuster, as an actor, more likely you could be a blockbuster too.
He was bought by Napoli for 75 million euros. The owner of the club has stated that they would sell him for 140. At the beginning of the season, it was 120. Come the end of the season, it might rise to 160. We know these numbers are arbitrary and prone to negotiations. But is he even worth the current asking price, 140 million euros?
I think it's because Victor Osimhen doesn't play in the La Liga. If he does play in the La Liga, he should have the likes of Gavi and Pedri's release clause of €1 billion. If you want to trigger his release clause, he should have such in his contract because he's a big player. He's the top of the town. He's the rave of the moment. He's been linked. He's been compared to the likes of Harry Kane. He's been compared to the likes of Alan. In fact, he's been compared to Pele. So he's even been compared to the late Diego Maradona in his most successful season with the same Napoli club. So generally, his market value should skyrocket. I don't see him worth less than 160, 170, considering the way the market is. Enzo Fernandez was bought for 120, and that's speaking about euros, to Chelsea. Look at Nunes, look at Kodikako, and a lot of examples like that. So it is not far-fetched if Victor Osimhen.
Speaking of how much it cost Chelsea to bring Enzo Fernandez to Chelsea, some of that payment is deferred, but only a little bit of it. The bulk of it was paid up front. Victor Osimhen, any club that wants to buy him now, surely would have to split the payment package into many installments. But is this the level of the market now, the astronomical cost that is being called for these players? Is it going to make it more and more impossible to buy the likes of Victor Osimhen? If you consider that Erling Haaland, had he not had the release clause at Dortmund, Manchester City would never have been able to pick him up for anything less than £120 million.
So it's all about timing. I really like the example you brought in, Manchester City and Erling Haaland. He actually had a release clause, but the release clause was not in action or was not active at the time Man City went for him. So they leveraged on the loophole and they got him for about 60 million or so.
You mean it was...
That could happen to Victor Osimhen.
You mean the release clause was active?
Yeah, I mean it wasn't active when Man City went for Haaland because they would have paid more if it was active.
No. The way it works is that if the release clause is inactive, the club can call any amount of money, which is why they were demanding £150 million from Chelsea the season before. Once it became active the next season, it reduced the cost to about £60 million. Which was why Man City were able to pick him up for so cheap.
Yeah, I understand. So the bottom line is that all these clauses, buyback clauses, release clauses, they have loopholes that you can walk around. You can decide to wait till a certain moment before you take your first bid. You can decide to allow other clubs to drop their bid, see the reactions of the club, then you come after. That's exactly what Chelsea did for Mikhailo Mudryk. He was on Arsenal's radar They went in for the first bid, second bid, I think the third bid, and Chelsea understood that this guy from Ukraine would worth this kind of amount, and this is the kind of amount the club are willing to listen to, and he came in. So it's all about timeliness.
All right. One more question. One more question on this. Bellingham is set to leave Dortmund come the end of the season. However, even though Dortmund had appeared to be settled on the inevitability of losing the player in the summer, they are now preparing a package of 30 million pounds or euros. I'm not certain about that. Per season contract for the player in order to keep him at the Stade Iduna Park. It seems to me like even when clubs seem to be ready to lose a player, at any moment they might deem it necessary for their longevity, for the progression and ambitions that they have, to keep such a player. Are we going to see more and more instances where players have to force the issue, as Enzo Fernandez did at Benfica, and thereby create a sour exit with the club and the fans? Might we see Victor Osimhen by the end of the season have to force the issue in order to get that 140 million euros asking price down to an affordable amount for Manchester United or Chelsea, whoever comes to pick him up in the summer?
So there's one more instance. How about Napoli renews his contract and offer him an increased wage bill? That could work, because we are all talking about him moving to another club. We are all talking about him, clubs coming for him, Real Madrid, Chelsea, and the likes of from other big leagues. How about Napoli retain their top striker? He is on course to win the Golden Boot in the Serie, but also on course to win the Scudetto. So why couldn't they renew his contract?
But if players have individual ambitions, they want to win more trophies, particularly the European trophy. He would have a better chance of winning it at Manchester United or Chelsea. He might, as a player, he will want to earn the maximum amount he feels is worth his value. He will likely earn it more readily at Chelsea or Manchester United. These are things that cannot be. These are things you cannot ignore. And even if Napoli offers him a renewed contract, should he decide this is the time to cash in on his worth, because he is in his prime now, from 25, 26, it is downhill. I think if Napoli refuse to let him go, Victor Osimhen, if he wants to go, will have to force the issue.
Yeah, so we're actually saying the same thing. That depends on if he wants to leave. The guy is 24. How old is Kylian Mbappe? When Kylian Mbappe had that move with Real Madrid and it fell apart, what people said was he still has time. Next 2-3 years, he could still go to Real Madrid. So we are making it look like Victor Osimhen might drop form moving forward. We never can tell. He might also keep up the momentum in the coming season.
All right.
As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to transfer, the person or the group of people who benefit more are the club and the agent.
All right.
So when it comes to salary, it's the player. So
all right,
if
Victor.
I'm Victor Osimhen, I should do what favors me.